Hello, people, and welcome to the Good News segment. I am your host, Richard, and I'm joined today by Alice and Shane on either side. I'll let you guess who's who, because it would be super hard. But so just give you a rundown of what's going to happen today. First off, we're going to do the welcome and stuff. Okay, yeah, we have that covered. Then we're going to talk about the comments that happened last week on last week's podcast as our little warm up. And don't worry if you didn't catch last week's show because, you won't be lost. We're just talking about what makes people like things on social media and such. Then after that, we'll go on to our main topic today, which is what makes people buy things. Which I was like, oh yeah, this will be the obvious evolution of the last week's podcast. And after thinking about it for a while, after I announced it, of course, I'm kind of like, oh, this is such a big topic. So I'm really glad that there was two other people with me here to help me through this. Yeah, we'll go on to that. And just before we get started, I just want to say that anybody who's here with us live in the chat, or if you are watching this on YouTube or something on after the fact, please feel free to comment below. We won't be paying attention to them during the live stream because we'll just get distracted and lose our train of thought and all that kind of stuff. But we will read them, and then if there's anything interesting, we'll discuss it in next week's warm up. So I guess I'll hand it over to Alice. So what kind of comments did we get last week?
Okay, so I'm going to start with the second one. So this question was from Owen. Hello, Owen. And it was fairly simple. Do you care more about likes or followers? So what do you guys think about that?
Likes.
Personally, I think it's a balance. I think you need both. And it's better to have small numbers of both than lots of one or the other.
Yeah.
I think it's all about followers.
I disagree, though, because I think if you're putting out content and you're not getting any reaction to any of it, like your followers might be going up, which is great, but if you're not getting any, like, engagement on the content specifically, then you're just kind of lost.
Yeah.
I'd rather get, like, comments on it, though. I'd rather, like,
Well, I
genuine
prefer
interactions than, like, likes do nothing for me, though.
There wasn't a question, Shane. The question was likes or followers. Yeah, because
but I said it.
Well,
so I think that's really interesting because, like, when I read it immediately thought followers. But then I thought about it more, and I think likes are important too.
Yeah. That's an interesting thing, actually. Like, if comments was part of it, yeah, I'd be with Shane. I'd say comments, totally.
Me too, I'd agree.
But I would value likes over followers because I think, like, followers are really easy to, in theory, they're much easier to get than a like, because a like is kind of like, here's this individual post, whereas, like, it's much easier to like a thing in general as opposed to specific stuff.
I kind of don't trust follower numbers as well either, because it's easy to get bots.
Yeah, and it's and like, even things like Facebook, where you invite friends and stuff like that. Like, that's all well and good, and it's like, I appreciate anybody who puts a like down, even if it is like, sometimes I like things and I'm like, I don't really, this isn't my thing, but I'm gonna give it a like anyway, just to boost up the number and make it look good or whatever like that, and help it, even though it's not my thing. So I'm not really going to follow it, but I'm going to like it. So, like, I appreciate when people do that for me, but that's, like, reasons like that are kind of why I'd value a like more than a follower.
And I think it boils down to, like, you want that audience engaged. Am I frozen?
You cut out there a second ago. What'd you say?
I think it boils down to, like, you want to build your audience, but you want to have an engaged audience.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a huge audience that doesn't react to anything, then that's not really valuable.
Not really, yeah, that's true.
That's very true as well, but, like, I just don't see still no value in a like. It amuses me so much. I'm like, it's just a
like
feature
my
that
post chain
came with instant gratification, and I hate it so much in all its form.
It's funny that never came up in last week's podcast.
Yeah,
But moving on.
That's interesting now, yeah. Might as well go on to the next question here. We're going to be stuck forever.
Yeah. Okay, another thing that came up just based on what we were talking about at the time was how different people communicate very differently online versus in person. So they mentioned that this was the Marshmallow Bear and the Lord of Russ. They mentioned that they're more skilled because they grew up with the internet. They're more skilled in conversing online, and they feel inept at it in person.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also added that online you have more time to think about what you're going to say, and that confidence isn't really needed.
That's
So what do you
true.
think about that?
It is so true, and it's a shame as well. I think because like you can say whatever you want on the internet if you're there in person. Like like just it's just people are losing social skills and they don't know what to do and they don't know how to react, and it's just you just got to be uncomfortable. That's all it is. It's got to be uncomfortable.
And I think
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. No, I was going to say that's kind of why I prefer just conversing with somebody face to face, or even do something like this is why I like doing podcasts, for example, and especially why I like doing them live, because then that's it. Just got to deal with things as it comes, and I find I am way better under pressure, I suppose, than I am, because like if what happens to me, it happens when I post anything on social media or anything, I way overthink it so much, every little detail, and I stress about that. And then when I do post it, I am stressing about that until like it's a week old or something like that. And whereas,
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I think something about writing it down and the fact that it's like
it's more permanent.
evidence. It's a much more tangible thing. So I do disagree that confidence. Like I think confidence is necessary with putting out content online, putting out posts. Because for me, the fact that it's written down makes it much more intense and stressful.
Yeah, a lot of backing behind it, though, don't you? So I find it takes nothing to write something down on social media. That's why I give it very little weighting. Whereas I don't put myself behind what I say. I mean everything I say, but I'm like I don't value
You're a liar in a
care.
I couldn't think of what else to.
I think that's a really interesting question, because like I feel like with a stranger I'm nearly more confident in person because I don't really care what I'm saying.
No.
Because it's not written down, there's no evidence. So long as that person feels comfortable in the moment, that's what they'll remember.
Yeah.
And I think
whereas if it's written down, it's more like every word is important.
Yeah, and I think like if you're in person, there's so many more things in your favor, as in like tone of voice and that kind of stuff. So it's much easier to kind of like, like I know people, for example, who are they'd sound wrong if they weren't swearing in every sentence. But like if you wrote down what he said, you'd think he's a complete jackass. But when he's there in person, you're like, that suits you. It's kind of, that's your thing. I get you. You get a better feel of a person when you meet them in person. So I feel like when I post something online, I have to be super strategic about like getting my message across and getting me across, and then like you've so little space to do that with your word counts and your pictures and all that kind of stuff or whatever. But yeah, I don't know, maybe that's why it's interesting, like, because I never thought of it before, but that like you need confidence for both, and then just some people have more confidence in one area and some people have another.
I do think it's quite funny though, because like I say I sometimes feel more comfortable with strangers in person, but at the same time I'll still text people rather than call them. I'll if say I need customer support, I'm more likely to use the instant web chat rather than
I hate that.
Going down to the shop in person.
No, I'd love to call people because
I hate calling customers.
Customer support, I love calling them, because then at least I don't know, I don't have to type it down, so I can focus on what I'm trying to get across as opposed to how I'm getting it across. Or something
exactly like that. Like I'll never be able to like type out my problem, as they'll always have to like have follow-on questions. Because I'm like just not able to say what I actually need to do for me.
I totally get you,
So,
Shane. I'm
if
so
I want
bad
to
at
have-
explaining.
Yeah, that's basically it. And I couldn't type it down to get it all out in one go.
Yeah,
Put it on.
and then when like they message you, because what happens is when I'm in one of about to go on one of those customer service things, I have to have my first sentence pre-prepared because
Yeah.
just to make sure that it makes sense to someone, and also
Yeah.
because I don't want it to be like, hi, I'm John, I'm your customer service guy today. What can I do for you? And then it's like 20 minutes later. I send a message and it says hang on, and then another 20 minutes later it's the actual message, and so
Yeah, but I do think
was
you need
working in
confidence
a
for both.
place there.
what'd you say,
Yeah,
Shane?
but
Won't you?
I was working in a place there not too long ago, and they had like their computer services was done like you ring them and say, look, my computer needs something to do with it, and then they like take over your thing, and then they text you as you're looking at your screen. It was really weird.
Yeah,
But you
I
text
did that
back
the
on
other
your
day as
screen
well.
afterwards. And like it was so weird, but I got through it. I got finalized, and I was like, the most awkwardest bit about it was I didn't know whether to say goodbye. And I was like, thanks.
That's so funny.
Well, yeah,
It was so
usually what happens, because I did that as well
awkward about
recently.
that.
With the whole screen thing, and like they take over your computer. It's really weird. But now my customer service person, she was delightful, so it was actually like I was total confidence in her that she wasn't going to like blow up everything. But yeah, definitely at the end it was kind of like, I'd say goodbye, and then she'd be like, thank you for calling customer support, and that kind of their kind of copy paste message or whatever like that, and then I'm like, yeah, thank you, goodbye, and then they're like, be sure to check out the survey at the end. Yeah, bye, and just it's that Irish thing.
No,
No,
like,
you hang up.
Irish
bye, bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Yep. No. Yep. Bye. There you go.
Yep. Eventually, I got
Okay,
off the
another
call.
thing. Another thing that came up then was Lord of Russ again asked, how important is the role of memes in modern society, in your opinion?
Memes.
Like how well can you use them in advertising?
M-E-M-E. Memes.
Yes.
Okay. Ooh.
I think it's like the newest. I think it's going to be the new thing. Like, if you done them right, and I don't like, and I say done them right as in, like, if KFC started using, like, remember that guy who was bad luck, whatever.
Yeah.
He was like geeky looking teenager. Everything used to always go wrong for him. That meme, if he always used that for like the chickens that are like not even alive as they're going in, that would have been really funny if that was on their social media, because it would have been really like would have got people talking. You know what I mean? And like it's relevant, and like that was a topic at the time, like there a while ago, of like the chickens aren't real; they're being like fed through a tube and they're not actual born and stuff. They're grown, and so it would have been like if people started like doing the controversial topics and using the memes for them, I think it'd be really worthwhile.
I think it's easy to get wrong though.
Definitely.
Because I think a lot of companies do try to use them, but I think it just comes across as a bit cringy and as if they're trying to be with the cool kids. But
I'm trying to
but I
think,
do think
of like what's an example of a sorry to interrupt. What's an example of a company using a meme for marketing? Because like I think like I don't know, when I think of memes, I'm thinking of these kind of silly things that give you a giggle or whatever, that don't really have a message as such, but it's more kind of a lot of them tend to be quite random and they don't have a it's just silly.
I was thinking about this and I realized things like fidget spinners are essentially a meme, and they've like that's been really good for their product because they were just everywhere.
Explain.
Well, I don't know
what's the
about you,
definition
but
of a meme?
Well, I think of it as just like a consistent thing that keeps coming up in your feed or whatever.
Oh, that's just something that's viral, isn't it? I don't know. 'Cause when I think of a meme, that's it's kind of like a parody of something, isn't it? Or it's like
like a picture and context put over, but it's like a similar theme.
Yeah, that's what I think of anyway. Am I wrong?
I guess it depends on your definition of it.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have to get back to this question.
What's a meme?
And
Yeah.
there's other ones as well. Like you see the one of Kermit the Frog, and he's like drinking tea, and he's thinking about like
love that.
bad business decisions or something he's made.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's a really successful ad for Lipton's tea. But I think it's totally unintentional.
Oh
Yeah.
no, that would for an actual tea company. I think.
Because that's what he's drinking. Like there's a very obvious like.
Well, I
Yeah,
guess
it's too easy.
by nature, like a meme is something the community kind of picks up.
Mm.
So like,
it's something
like
that's
it
just
can't be
everywhere
bred
for a
from a
little
marketing
while.
place. Yeah, like I don't know if it could be bred from a marketing place. I mean, I'm sure marketing people could just make up fake accounts and try and start doing stuff, but you know, I'm sure they have done that many times. You know, because it's funny actually now that you mention it, because E3 is coming up next week. But one thing that there's one company called Ubisoft who they I think it's Ubisoft. They have this kind of weird obsession with getting a meme going, so they'd like make a situation that looks weird or something or whatever like that, and you're like, oh, isn't this so memey? You should all share it on your social medias. And it's really cringy, and it's so obvious to everybody all the time that it's like, you know, because I think what happened was that one time they did make a meme out of it, and that was completely unintentional. And now they're trying to bring it on, and it's kind of a meme
I think
they're
it
not
doesn't
making a
work.
meme.
I think it doesn't work if it is intentional, but I
Yeah.
think it's hugely powerful if it happens accidentally.
I need to come back to this with a proper definition of meme. What'd you say, Shane?
Some
Like you can't be confident in it. It's kind of like would no seriously, like it's not a good risk. It's kind of pretty much it.
yeah.
Broke up again. I didn't hear any of that.
Oh,
But
sorry.
somebody else in the
um,
comments. Well, I'll keep going.
No.
Somebody else in the comments brought up that, like, you know, in order for a meme to be successful, it has to be current. And somebody mentioned that, like, there's a new meme every week. They're making them every day. So I think it's not a. I think what Shane was saying, like, it's a risky marketing scheme, and it's either going to work really well or it's not going to work at all.
That's a good point, actually. That it's like, you know what, there's probably for every one meme that goes viral, there's probably like 200 million of them that aren't viral at all. Like,
Yeah.
because to be honest, like, you know, I'm pretty sure I just have a handful of memes that I could like say I've noticed or anything like that in the last while. So that's interesting. Yeah,
There's new ones constantly.
yeah,
But think about
for
it
everything.
this way as well. Like it's so hard just to make it viral. But okay, imagine your meme goes viral. But after that, how many memes have influenced you to buy something? None. Like
Yeah.
you had
Yeah, popularity of a brand will make you buy things too.
You guys are just completely breaking up right now. I hope this isn't on my end. Hello?
you see me.
Oh
Are we?
dear.
Hello?
You guys back?
Are we here?
Sort of.
Is Richard on his own?
Yeah, no, you guys are here. You guys are here.
Okay.
Hello. Don't
Oh.
leave me again. It was scary.
Every week we'll get better and better internet.
Slightly better and better.
Baby steps.
Not
a bit-
enough to make an impact. Just enough to keep me on edge.
But I do think that was a really interesting question,
Yeah,
because I do think
They're all
like
really
they're
interesting questions.
definitely invading advertising.
yeah, and I mean that's what, like you hear the term the whole time, viral marketing campaign.
Mm.
So I don't know if it's necessarily a meme, but people are definitely trying to hit that viral picture or something that goes around everywhere. Getting that reach, getting those eyeballs on it. I mean, sure, I suppose to
And
some
getting
degree
it
even we're
mentioned
doing
and
it.
getting familiarity out there. It's essentially product placement.
Yeah, 100%. This is why
Mhm.
likes are more important than follows, because if you get loads of likes on one post, on every post, then every post is going to get a lot more reach than just one page. Sort of.
True.
I think. Was there any other comments?
Yeah, talking about likes, we had been discussing at the time a dislike button on Facebook,
Yeah.
and Lord of Us said that he didn't think it would ever happen because it would be a way for people to bully others.
Yeah.
And I think that's totally true.
100%. 100% right. Sorry, Shane, go on.
Facebook actually is soft testing a dislike button.
I don't think it'll ever happen.
I'm sure they are.
But it's not in the posts and comments. You can't dislike it there. I don't know where it is. I know what they are doing it.
That's interesting. Because if they do something like YouTube, where the videos have a thumbs up and a thumbs down, but like your normal status would just have the normal likes.
I think it would I think it would maybe work if it was only used in relation to businesses, as if it was like a rating system for
what content you want
a business.
Jeez, you guys are. Is it me? You guys are both screwing up here.
Well, I can see you fine, but
Oh.
I've got it very clearly, and Alice jumps. Are we here?
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, keep going. We'll see how it goes. Someday, we will have no technical issues.
But today is not that day.
No. You go on.
But I think that's a really good point. That I don't think it'll ever happen on personal posts, because I do think it would lead to bullying.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting as well. You said businesses, because really, like, what's more, excuse me, like if I saw loads of dislikes on a post and loads of ups on the other one, like, I think as a business, I'd prefer to get, like, you know, your ha-has and you're angry and you're sad and all that kind of stuff, as opposed to thumbs up and thumbs down, because that's more information for me to gauge the audience. So I don't think that should be separated at all. Fun fact though, I did find a dislike button on Facebook before. I don't know if it's there anymore. I tried to look for it the other day, but I couldn't find it. But it's actually like, do you know, like the arrow on the top right of a post where it like gives you more options? There used to be a part that said, "I don't like this post," or something like that. I have
seen that as well.
But that's kind of more like, you know, this is offensive. That's more of a, or something. Yeah. Report this kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
So, but there technically was a dislike button. So there we go. There was one more. Oh. There was one more question then.
It was: would you agree that women share their personal life on Facebook a lot more than males? I.e., males use it more for laughs and advertising.
That's interesting. I would say, you know, on average, from my friends group, I would say yes, 100%.
I would say no.
There are certain, like, of course, there's exceptions to every rule, and sometimes those exceptions can like have a lot of weight to them. So, yeah, you were saying, Alice?
Yeah, in my experience, like I've been keeping an eye on this over the past few days, and no, it's about 50-50. Like if I were to name the top 10 people who share most personal life stuff, it's about 50-50 males.
That's interesting. Yeah. Well, I don't really surround myself with
any males. I know one.
And like that's me saying that, and like being a girl going to all girls primary schools, all girls secondary schools.
Yeah.
Like most of my friends are female. No, but I definitely say that it's 50-50 in my experience.
I haven't really taken notice now, to be honest. So I'm not sure. Maybe if I went back and looked, it would be different. I'd have a different opinion. But like definitely, you know, with the exceptions, I definitely see a lot more posts from girls that are like more personal, like I was on a night out thing or something like that. Whereas what I see a lot from more of my male friends is a lot more things like, here's this new song that I made as part of the band, or here's this businessy kind of stuff. You know, it's all that their more professional side of their life, as opposed to their personal life. But there is, as I said, exceptions, and sometimes.
Yeah, no, I'd see bits and pieces. I don't know if it's because a lot of my friends would have personal lives kind of intertwined with their business more. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but like I've definitely seen a lot of personal life from my male friends as well.
Interesting. And sure, as we said, like in the last
and it's not necessarily even an age group thing, because like I've seen males who are parents of children and they're sharing posts of their children and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I've also got people my age who are like traveling the world and they're sharing loads of stuff about nights out and where places they're being and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, I never really, for some reason, I think in my mind I was kind of thinking people around my age, just automatically. But yeah, I suppose now that I think about it, yeah, I would know a lot of people from all different age groups, and I suppose if you average them out, I think like from my recollection of my feed, I would say that it's like younger girls are sharing more of their personal life, but then it kind of goes into the like more males are sharing their personal life the older they get, it seems. I don't know if that's how I am envisioning my feed at the minute.
For me, it's pretty much a balance across the board.
Yeah.
And like I think like there's a gut instinct to say, oh yeah, girls share more, but I think that's because there's probably more. But I think it probably comes from like there's more female like fashion bloggers and things like that.
Yeah.
Whereas males are more likely to blog about, I don't know, something specific like gaming. Whereas I think more girls run like lifestyle blogs and things like that.
I feel like I'm going to throw myself into a bit of hot water here, but like, because that's interesting because I'm just thinking of like the different types of posts, like because I would say on my feed anyways, girls are way more likely to post 30 pictures in one go of like the same room that they had a night out in, and whereas the guys are generally more kind of like they post one picture of them in an awkward stance and that's it.
Yeah,
that's not really the question, but that's just an observation I thought of.
Scale of posts rather than frequency.
So maybe that's what I'm thinking, because I think probably
maybe that's where it comes from.
The more I'm thinking of is because, like, you know, the way people get tagged and posts and all that kind of stuff. Like, if you put up 30 pictures at once and tag every single person, then the same post is going to be shown multiple times on your feed. Whereas, like, if you put up one post, and so that's only going to be seen once, you know. So maybe that's why I have the perception of the women posting more, actually. Shane
it
gone?
is an interesting question. I do think Shane has frozen.
Oh dear. Sure.
but I thought that was really interesting though, because like your instant reaction is different from when you give it a
Yeah, I thought it was funnier, right? That you said males and I said females. It's just like, no, the other gender, no.
And I was aware of that. Like I was aware that like if I came on and said, yeah, males, then I'd be seen differently. But
yeah.
But no, that's my
funny,
experience.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's different for other people.
Those are all interesting questions. Thank you very much, people, for all those interesting questions. As I said before, if you have any questions that come up during this podcast, or any ideas or thoughts or little bubbles, just throw them into the chat or throw them into the comment section if you're watching this after the fact. Excuse me. We'll be talking about those next week in our little warm up for next week's podcast, which actually would be about E3. Whoa! It's probably going to be a special or something like that. I'm going to see if we can manage doing a few podcasts, and mixing up the people who are on it and all this kind of stuff, and we'll see. And exciting! So stay tuned and like the Facebooks and subscribes and all that kind of stuff. Oh, Shane is gone. No.
Yeah, I thought he was back there briefly, but
he's screwed up my system. Now I have two Alices again. Oh dear. So that's unfortunate because
I'm going to try and add Shane back.
Yeah. I guess I'll have to keep people busy. Hello, people. I'm Richard. Welcome to the podcast. Those of us who are joining. This is the podcast.
We're about ready to start our topic, though.
Yeah.
And Shane has returned.
Oh, thank God, I was running out of words.
Oh, Jesus. I could feel the panic from all the way over.
Oh, thank you. Okay, we're all good, and now we swap sides. So, Shane, would you like to get us started on our main topic of what makes people buy things? Which is such a big topic. Oh, where do we start?
Yeah, that's like so. It was like I saw it and I was like, okay. And then I realized it was so much. I was like, I started looking stuff up and I was like overwhelmed. And I was like, people. It's like there's so many factors in different people buy things. There's so many different kind of things you can buy.
Yeah.
That's like the actual what you're buying, then what makes you buy it. There's so many different factors there. So there's like there's 3 sets of different factors to this. So I kind of just dealt with like the motivational side of it, of what like pushes you. There's so much more though.
I know,
And I know all this from my college course. Just for anyone listening, I'm studying business in German, so like I have like a lot of stuff I'm going to talk about is kind of theory that I'm adapting to the topic that we're talking about. But basically, where do I start? Like you could have.
It's such a big topic.
I don't know where to start. I actually don't.
It seemed like such a logical, like the next step from last week's podcast, which is why do people like things, and it seemed like, yeah, that's easy. You know, we could just it's grand, have a little conversation about it, and oh my god, there's so much in it. I mean, that's why you're in a course doing it for 3 or 4 years. But actually, just as Shane was saying there, we keep forgetting to explain like what's her kind of background or what perspective are we coming from in this conversation actually. So Shane said he's a business student with the mind for event management and such is what the little blurb says about it. But I'm me myself, I am a game designer in training, so I'm studying game design and art and all that kind of stuff, so I'm coming from very much of a like interactive perspective, so and that stuff. And Alice?
And then I'm coming from an illustration sort of graphic designy animation background, so I've just finished college studying animation, so I am a very visual communications type of person.
Woo. So back to Shane, what were you saying?
Yeah, so like there's like so many different things that would push you to buy things. What makes you buy things? You'll have like a need or a want, like just for like a goods or service. You could have different kind of factors, like you I'll have it written down there somewhere. Like you have internal and external factors for a start. Internal obviously being like your needs and wants. External will be like social cues. Like do you buy something because it's cold outside, or do you buy something because your friend has it? And that's a thing as well. I saw that somewhere in my
social
notes.
Proofing.
Yeah, I noticed it the other day, and I was walking downtown, and I was like, one of those guys doesn't want a Lucasade, and I know they don't, because both of these guys, they were like 11 or 12 years old, and they were both walking down with that 1 litre bottle of Lucasade. One was the original, one was the orange, and I was like, one of those guys actually wanted the Lucasade, and the other one got it because he thought he was cool. You know what I mean? He bought that Lucasade, and I'm like, there you go. That's just a typical example.
That is really interesting.
You know what I mean?
And I think that is more common in kids. I think you kind of grow out of that.
To some extent, but I think it just changes. Like you do it less, yes, but it changes how you do it. In that, like,
I guess that's
keep it Joneses like.
Yeah, and I guess that's where like celebrity endorsement and things come in. Because like you see this important person who has this thing or uses this thing, and suddenly you want it more.
Yeah. Basically, like it's and there's other ways that like it'll make you want to buy things just by celebrity endorsement as well. In that, like the message, I'd say you can have a personal brand and like a business brand, and that's what they're combining the two. And you're in your head, you see, oh, who was it? It was Nescafe and really handsome old guy drinks coffee, obviously. Actor, he's on the Nescafe ads. Anyway, he's in the ads. You'd know him to see him. I'm going to kick myself. I didn't think of him.
You watch TV actually.
Yeah, well, I know this is ages ago.
No, he's still the Advocate. It's George Clooney.
Oh, is he?
Did you say bald?
Yeah, that's who it is.
Is that bald?
I didn't say bald.
Did you? Did I imagine that? Okay, I'm going crazy.
Yeah, no, he's still an advocate for them.
Yeah, and like, so you kind of like basically they're going for there that he's taking that whole kind of like not rugged, but like aged and knows what it's doing.
Sure.
Yeah, and you kind of associate that with the coffee then. And then they brought in Jack Black and in one of the ads.
Did they?
Yeah, and Jack Black and George Clooney were in the same ad, and they like.
I remember that.
Yeah, and they integrated the two of them, and they were like, They had like George Clooney's catchphrase in the ad, and then Jack Black mimicked it, but slaggingly in the ad, and it was kind of like bringing a new, and you associate all this kind of playfulness with the coffee then, and that would make you buy it if you're thinking like, why are you buying coffee? It's to be energized. It's not to be like you're hitting mature. I think we also hitting. It's just so much.
Wow.
That's unexpected. I didn't see that ad.
Yeah.
And if you had asked, and if you had like pitched that idea to me, I would have told you that's not going to work.
Oh,
I think I remember that.
that's what I think. That's why I love wacky ideas. I think the crazier you're willing to try and go, the more effective you're going to be.
You just reminded me because I'm the video game guy, so I'm going to turn this back to video games. But there's a game I was playing, Halo Wars 2. And when that was coming out, they had their ad campaigns doing all that kind of stuff, and they put out their videos for it. And so, one of the first videos was this like extremely highly detailed, amazing looking CGI trailer of a big fight happening over music, and it was awesome. You should watch the Halo 2 trailer; it's so cool. But so that's super like serious and like this is going to be Clash of the Titans thing, and but then they also had another ad campaign going on, which was they got the costumes and all that kind of stuff and put them on live actors, and in fact one of them is a giant, like he's basically a big gorilla man essentially, and they made this massive costume. It was really like actually really quite good, and these are like the two main guys in the games, and these are like the two commander fellas, and so they're rivals against each other, and it's a strategy game. So in these little adverts, what it is it's one of them, it's the two of them trying to like mentally battle each other, and there's two of these videos, and in one of them, for example, there's the big gorilla guy is trying to sell the other guy a car at a used car sales place. So it's already quite ridiculous compared to what the actual game is about. And the other guy is like, I will get this car for $3,000, and here's how. And then he like goes through his plan of like, with all these like really technical like terms. So he's just like, first, I will I can't even make up a technical term in a minute. But he's like, I'll come up with a diversion, and then he's like, oh, look over there, or whatever. It's kind of that kind of silly stuff. But it's the two of them trying to one up each other, and it's just about selling a used car as opposed to making war. But like, it kind of, it's really playful, and it kind of, even though like the game is fairly serious and the first trailer was really serious, this kind of got across the idea that you can have fun with this game. You're just going to have fun. It's going to be these little scraps with your friends or whatever like that, where you're like fighting over trivial things, but it's all in good spirits, and it's all like trying to one up each other and that kind of stuff.
That's a good ad. I think it works quite well.
Yeah.
In that regard, because like the other ad is very, like, you've shown me both of these ads, and I know the first one is very, very serious, and like that's going to appeal to the very, very serious gamer.
Oh, it's so cool though.
But then that second ad, the one that like compares selling a car to trying to defeat someone in war, like that's an inherently silly comparison, and it does like bring in the audience that just wants to have some fun.
Yeah, and even the second one was more, the second one of those ads was even more ridiculous, because it was about trying to get the armrest in a seat on a plane. And it's just ridiculous, because you just see this giant gorilla man taking up the seat, and then they're all like doing all these different tactics, like one of them ordered food, but it's like a really strong smelling food, so he like puts that underneath the guy's nose, and he like goes like, oh, and then he like takes the armrest, but then like the guy has the last laugh because he's after licking the armrest, and this kind of stuff. It's so stupid, but I love it.
They say that humor in advertising, it doesn't necessarily increase your likelihood of buying anything, but it does improve your fondness for the brand.
Yeah. Like, because I remember that, because I think Halo Wars 2 would have been a lot more forgettable for me if it wasn't for that. Like, I wouldn't be mentioning it right now, for example. And I mean, you know, to be fair to them as well, like one of the reasons why this is probably why they're probably using this kind of strategy is because the game is kind of like selling itself as a strategy game that's easy. It's like that's much easier than the typical strategy game, because a lot of strategy games tend to be quite overwhelming when you go into them first. Whereas this one's like, no, this is streamlined and all that kind of stuff. You're just here to have a good bit of fun for a while.
That brings up something that I was curious about. You know, in terms of games, are you more likely now to buy a digital game or a physical copy?
Yeah, that depends. Oh, there's so many.
Basically, I had this overarching question of, like, how likely are you to buy something intangible now?
It doesn't actually concern me, the tangibility of it. I think, like, you know, if I was giving a gift to somebody, it's a lot nicer to give them a physical thing. But for myself, I don't really care if it's digital or not, because thankfully, although my internet isn't great by a lot of people's standards, it's good enough to be downloading games and all that kind of stuff, so I don't have to worry about download times too much, or at least I can put it on the background. But yeah, it's funny, alright, because I think, well, like, the deciding factor for me going from physical or digital is actually price, usually. And, you know, part of me is like, I don't really have a complete understanding of how things go down behind the scenes and who gets what percentage of whatever, but part of me would be more inclined to buy a digital one to support the developer, because because you know, there's no manufacturing costs in that. But the no, I'm sure that doesn't really matter, but it's funny, alright, because I think if I was to buy a game new, generally, unless I was getting some sort of bundle deal or something digitally, then I would go for a physical copy, because part of me is like, I'm buying it new, so I want the whole shebang, case and all, even though, you know, don't really use it.
Unwrapping new.
I love opening things.
Case is so nice,
so good. And the
like
excitement of putting it in, and it's all like, whoa,
warming up.
Yeah.
And you brought it up before that you miss the manuals in games.
Yeah.
You miss being able to read the physical booklet that comes with them.
They're not the same anymore.
They practically don't exist anymore.
Pretty much all you get is like it's, you know, I don't know, it's pretty much an advertisement for another game is what's put into it.
And like, do you miss that aspect of the tangible product?
You know, part of me is like,
and would you be inclined to buy a product if it had that?
I think yes. Well, I don't know, because you see, if I was younger, if I was a child, then yeah, totally. I think because I used to love getting out those manuals and then reading them on the car home, really excited to put this in the tray and play it. But I think nowadays, like, I don't know, you know, I'm probably more likely to, even if I get it, I'll just flick through it and then I'll just go and watch a YouTube video, even if I'm in the back of a car or whatever, waiting to get home. Yeah, I don't think it's a major selling point for me anymore, but it is kind of a little relic of the past that I kind of miss. Now, and that being said, like, I have some collector's editions of games and all that kind of stuff.
That's what I was going to say. I do think collector's editions, because that same thing happens in the music industry, that, like, nobody buys CDs anymore, or at least I don't know anybody buying CDs. But I do know people who buy collector's editions of albums as records.
Yeah.
Because they want that tangible thing.
Love records.
Yeah, so in that instance, like,
Vintage.
The actual physical object doesn't really influence how you're going to listen to that song or how you're going to play that game. But, like, you might be inclined to buy the collector's edition, which comes with a little model or something.
Yeah.
Or you might be inclined to buy the record, so that you have that tangible connection to the thing.
And like, because, you know, like, as I said in the last podcast, I'm not a guy who's great for reading. so usually, like, manuals and stuff like that, they wouldn't really be a massive sell to me, because I'm probably not going to read most of it. But, like, I do kind of have fonder memories of those games that did come with, like, these, like I have a collector's edition for Halo Reach, and that has this really nice little diary in it, and it's really cool and it's really unique how it even opens up. Like, it's not just like a normal book nowadays, because they're trying to sell this idea that this is a diary that belongs to one of the characters in the game. And you know, it's got like all these coffee stains on it, and it's got all these little jokes and stuff that are in it, like as if it was written by an actual human being who was just sitting down doing their research for years on end, being really bored. And I have really fond memories of all the little things that are inside that. And to be honest, I keep forgetting the fact that I have this giant model on the top of my wall over there. Even though it's a really awesome model, I have more fond memories of the book because it had more personality to it. And I remember being really, really disappointed when I got the Halo 4 collector's edition, and that just came with a bunch of download codes for digital armor that you can put on your avatar, and it's just like, oh boy.
I think that's the difference. I think that's the difference between, you know, all of these things are like, usually they're a higher cost than the base object. Yeah. But if you're really invested in, say, a brand or something, and you want to support a certain developer, a certain content creator, then you will pay more if you have a tangible thing, and I don't think you're going to pay more if there's no tangible element.
Yeah, not really. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, all right, because I do think after that Halo 4 thing, now I did get like the Fallout 4 collector's edition, but after that Halo 4 one, I've been quite soured on collector's editions. And like, now to be fair, when I'm pretty sure that was, you know, like maybe 2/3 the price of the Halo Reach one, but the Halo Reach one had so much more value for me in it. I felt, especially because back then my internet wasn't great, so I wasn't playing online a lot. But the so ever since I got that, I kind of felt a bit sour towards collector's editions, and it kind of felt like a gimmick all of a sudden to me. So yeah, I don't know.
I think that like the question is kind of skewed wrongly, I think, in that if you were to have like manuals and all those kind of gimmicks tangibly and just like what makes you feel good, it wouldn't make you buy that one product more. Yeah. Like if for example, for Richard, if you saw a game that had a manual and that had all them gimmicks that you like, that would make you buy that game more. But if you bought it and then realized that I had it, that's where the value is, in that it leaves a better taste in your mouth, and that's the value that having all those things has.
Well, that's it. Yeah, because then I'm kind of more inclined to buy the next one or something, you know.
Yeah, that's
I would feel so.
Such a long-term game.
Yeah, because I did buy the Halo 4 one after the Halo Reach one, and just being like, oh, this is going to be cool or whatever, and stuff. But yeah, no, it turned out to be, felt quite disappointed actually.
I have another question. I feel like I've hijacked this podcast with my questions about intangible things, but I'm going to continue.
Yes,
I have recently been considering a subscription to an online. It's essentially like a learning tool. And I was wondering, would you be inclined to buy those kind of things? Because there's no
service, so
there's no like physical thing. You don't even get a product. You just like get an open door.
Yeah.
Can I ask what one is?
It's about comics, and it's just like a learning tool.
Learning to how to make comics.
Yeah. I would say, am I after losing you guys? I'm fair after losing you guys. Oh no, Shane's back.
Okay, I just still.
Yeah. I'm after losing Alice. So part of me feels like answering this question is going to be, it's an awful shame because she's gone.
I'm still here. I can hear you.
Oh, great.
Okay.
So I would say, yeah, because that's interesting because, you know, like even, like I have a few subscriptions myself at the minute. Like one of them is Netflix, for example. So, yeah, it's funny, all right. I guess it depends on, like, because that's a learning one, so that's going to be different to Netflix. So, like, I justify Netflix by saying, like, oh, it's €8 or €10 or whatever it is. So it's like, right, that's the cost of, like, I don't know, renting 2 DVDs or whatever, or probably not. I haven't looked at DVDs in a while.
Renting 2 DVDs. Yeah. When have we ever rented a DVD? Like, how long is Extravision gone?
Yeah. Oh well, rest in peace. But the
anyone like a millennial won't get that. You know, what's renting
Don't you dare tell me that DVDs are the next floppy disk.
But that's how Netflix started. Remember when Netflix first started and they'd mail you a DVD?
Yeah. Well, that's it.
No way.
They'd physically post it to you?
That's it, yeah.
And you post it back.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. But,
Shane is in
so many Robs.
Shane is shocked.
well,
I am, because it doesn't make business sense. Obviously,
probably
it did.
charge your card again or something.
Because, imagine if you sent out 2,000 DVDs this month, and 900
but it's
were robbed.
it's essentially a library, though.
I guess that's the idea.
You just have to trust people.
Because actually,
but then you're just going to lose all your stock, and if you send Men in Black reposition guys to come along and be like, hey, give me back Austin Powers.
well, that's the funny thing, because I was listening to a video recently, and this person was going on about business tactics, and they were saying that there's 3 things you need in order to sell something, and if you're missing one of them, you're not going to get the sale. And the 3 things you need are the desire, so somebody needs to want it, the offer, so it needs to be able to coexist within the desire. So you can kind of think of these as almost like Venn diagrams, so they need to overlap somehow. And then you also need trust. So it's like, if you got an email and it said, hey, click here for €10,000, probably not going to click on that. But if it's like, click here for €10,000, and it came with like a big booklet of the actual procedure of how you actually claim your money, and it came from like Bank of Ireland or something, or some reputable source, and it was endorsed by all these celebrities, and like there was actually videos of them endorsing it and stuff, or all that kind of stuff. Suddenly you've been more trust, and you're going to click that button. But yeah, I guess that's how Netflix worked as well, is that they had that trust as well. They probably had these ideas that it's like, well, if you return it, you'll get a discount on the next one, so it'll actually be cheaper for you.
Well, no, I think they actually operated on, if you don't return it, you won't get another one ever.
Well,
we set up a new account.
Yeah, PO box or something. I don't know. Probably
yeah, I could be wrong. It was before my time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, this is crazy. Now. I'm gonna look this up now.
But coming back to my point, like, what convinces you to buy something that is purely intangible, something that is almost
convenience?
Convenience, yeah, that's a good point.
That's why I bought Netflix.
Like, what you're actually getting is it valuable to you? Beyond that, it doesn't matter.
Quality and convenience. There needs to be like a balance there.
Yeah.
So like if I was, if Netflix was only offering to have like really crappy quality shows or whatever like that on their service, but you could stream it and it's convenient, I probably just get the DVD anyway, because if I'm going to watch a movie, I'd want to watch it in like the way the makers intended it. But yeah, so I think it's like a balance between convenience and quality.
I think that's actually quite funny, because like in my house we've got a whole shelf full of DVDs, but people will literally like, they will go and download it, or they will go and stream it or whatever, rather than go into the other room and pick it up.
Yeah.
At this stage.
Well, you see, that's it.
So like, what is the value there?
Oh well, you see, well, that's I don't
collect DVDs though.
Yeah, like I don't really have much DVDs myself anymore. Like any DVDs I do have, they're all 6-7 years old, like at least.
But I do think this comes back to like your gift idea, because like I'm not likely to gift someone a Netflix subscription, but I would be likely to gift someone, say, a box set or a film.
Even like,
but that's a shit gift then. It is.
Point.
But
I'm sorry to all of my friends and family.
That's why they have gift vouchers. It's like,
good point.
I'll give you an Amazon gift voucher, because like, just using Amazon as an example, like you have when you go to buy a gift voucher, you have the option of just sending it in an email, and that's free. But I'll actually pay the extra little bit to get a physical thing that I can actually hand to somebody and say, here you go, punch in the code and do all the hard work yourself.
Peasant.
Like that's an interesting thing, because like essentially you're paying extra to have a tangible thing.
Yeah.
That basically represents a digital currency.
Yeah. That's it. Because it's, I don't know, yeah, it's funny. I didn't even think we were going to get into GIFs and all that kind of stuff. That never even crossed my mind.
I
Oh,
did think
God.
about gifts.
We should start naming the podcast after we do them.
Yeah. Well, we need to
It's like-
announce a topic, get people interested, you know? Do we? Comment below, let us
We
know.
could start like a good idea would be like if we just have the initial question that we're going to go off, and then that's not the topic for the podcast.
Well,
Because I think we've a bad habit of going on tangent, all of us. Richard especially.
yep.
Just saying.
Yeah. That's why we're here. We're just here to have a chat. We're not going to solve all the world's problems in an hour, you know? We just have a good banter about it, get the discussion going, and just think about it. I like thinking about just these life things in general, all the little bits that make up my world, you know?
This was a very big topic, though.
Really
That
big,
was a
yeah.
very
Yeah,
big
there
segment of your world.
we genuinely didn't even scratch it. Like
Um,
so.
So yeah, that's interesting. So I guess we're hitting up towards 10 o'clock. So should we wrap things up?
I
Yeah.
suppose so.
Yeah. I feel like I just got here. Like we just started the discussion. But yeah. Oh, my brain is constantly racing. Like part of me is just like, oh, we should talk about like how would we market the podcast to get people more engaged and stuff like that.
Go for it.
And like
Let's talk
the
about that
difference
for a
between
second.
like, I'm gonna let Shane go because I've had this podcast enough.
I think that'd be a really interesting thing to do right now, especially for the comments afterwards. If we talk about just like how we're marketing the Good News segment
Yeah.
And what we
as a
could do better.
podcast, and see just what people will comment in on how we're getting on and what suggestions they might have.
Yeah, I totally love that because we don't know, you know.
These are people we've actually
There's no wrong
successfully reached and got them to us.
Yeah,
So, like, what worked? Did the Facebook work? Did my messaging my mom's sister's friend work? What made you come on the podcast today?
yeah, that's
be
super
fun.
interesting. Please comment below, and we will be sure to have a look at them afterwards and discuss them. So like, I guess, like at the minute, pretty much all we do is like I just made a couple of little posts. So there are little pictures that tell us when the podcast is going to happen. So there's the day before post comes up, and it's kind of midday-ish, and it'll say that the podcast is happening tomorrow at this time, and it'll be this topic. And then the next post is, here are the people who are going to be on the podcast. And then the next post after that is the following day, and that's a reminder to say it's on tonight. And then there's one to say that it's on in an hour, and then there's one to say that it's on now. Sounds like a lot, but it does actually space
And it is a
out.
lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It takes up so much more time. So much. It's remarkable how much time it takes up, and especially when you're trying to do it on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and God knows where else, you know. You know what really annoys me?
You did something on Twitch today about some event. I don't know why you did. You
Yeah,
mentioned
I
it briefly.
set up a little event thing on Twitch so that down below there's like a little post on the channel feed that says the podcast is going to be on Wednesday. And then I have to I'm changing because I'm all in every post I'm constantly linking to this Twitch place so that people know where to go to find it, no matter when it, even if it's not on, they know where to go. And they then on that I have to like update it with saying the next podcast is on Wednesday and stuff like that. But so it takes up so much time, you know, and I really need to figure all this out because what
You want it
happens?
to be as efficient as possible, but
Yeah,
as effective as possible.
Part of the reason why we're doing it live. What was that, Shane? What was that?
Say that again?
Oh, that's why I said that I'd like ask, because like it's the only way to figure this out, and we can give like people what they want to hear, because especially with this the good news segment, and people want to hear good news as well. We must incorporate that. So we must have like a good news 5 minutes of just like 5 minutes where you think we're good news.
We need that, yeah.
That's a comment.
That
because
was why
we
this
haven't done
podcast
anything
was
on
named
it.
like that.
Yeah, we've done like what makes you like things and what makes you buy things briefly. But we haven't actually said today. My dog ran away, but she came back. So that's my good news for today. And I thought she was back and get knocked down and die, but she didn't. She came back to me.
I don't know if this is real or not.
I feel like that's mixed news.
No, it was good news to me because it wasn't actually my dog. It was my uncle's.
Good news.
My good news is it's my birthday this weekend.
Hey, happy birthday!
Yay!
My good news is that it's nighttime now, and so soon I get to go to bed. I'll probably stay up really late though. But I have the
Your
option.
good news is that E3 is happening and you're excited about it.
Excited.
Richard's good news there, right there, from his point of view, was it's nighttime, so the cinema will be free, and I'll get to play Xbox or play PlayStation or whatever all night.
And if it's not, I'll just stay on the computer. That'd be great. But yeah, please, people, if you wouldn't mind, letting us know what you think of how things are done now, or all that kind of stuff. Because part of me is I realized that you see, because I had a plan for how this podcast was going to go in like from the beginning. I've been planning this podcast for months, but then it kind of just all fell apart because people couldn't commit and all that kind of stuff. And it's not me throwing shade or blame or anything on anybody else, because they have lives and stuff like that, and just life is unpredictable.
Not naming names, anyone.
But the
Basically, the podcast evolved as you got closer and closer to it.
It pretty much evolved to what it is right now in a week. So, because I realized that it's hard for us to market the podcast when we're not really sure what it's going to be every week. Which is the big factor. So hopefully we'll have a regular schedule and all that kind of stuff. But thank you very much, people the people who have joined us so far, because this is a journey, and I hope you stick around to see how it evolves more and more, because it's changing every week, it seems. But yeah, I guess do we want to leave it at that, or do you have anything else to say?
Do you want to endorse yourselves?
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
So hello people, or goodbye people.
Hi there.
I'm
me,
Richard.
Jeff.
I'm Richard Naughton. You can follow me on pretty much most anywhere as Rich to the RDO. The links should be down below depending on where you're watching this. And please make sure to, if you are interested in keeping up with the podcast, do make sure to like and stuff on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Links below.
On my own behalf, I am One Curious Chip, so you can just Google that anywhere.
That SOE.
So that's me. Yep.
Oh, SEO. Jeez. Wow.
One Curious Chip. It's on all the social media stuff.
And
Over to you, Shane.
My plug is, you cannot Google me. I am not popular enough to be Googled. My blog is on WordPress, so go on to wordpress.com, look up my blog as the Perfection Paragraph, or go on to Twitter, where it also happens to be, which is Perfection Para, Para, all one word.
That was the easiest I found. Twitter. Because I couldn't find you otherwise.
That's pretty much all I got, so deal with it.
God, Shane, that SEO though. Well, considering you started up like last week and nobody knew about it.
I made it for this podcast. No.
just to have something to say here.
You have like online plans. One day to push the RDO. I'm just like, I'm Shane.
Well, thank you, Shane, and thank you, Alice, for joining me today. And yeah, I guess we shall say goodbye. This is always the hardest part. Goodbye, goodbye, bye, 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 bye,
Bye.
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 See you next week.